Chile, officially named the Republic of Chile, is a country in South America occupying a long, narrow coastal strip between the Andes Mountains to the east and the Pacific Ocean to the west. It borders Peru to the north, Bolivia to the northeast, Argentina to the east, and the Drake Passage in the far south. The Pacific coastline of Chile is 4,000 miles. The shape of Chile is a distinctive ribbon of land 2,700 miles long and on average 109 miles wide. The climate of Chile comprises a wide range of weather conditions across a large geographic scale, extending across 38 degrees in latitude, making generalizations difficult. Within its borders, Chile hosts at least 7 major climatic subtypes, ranging from the desert in the north to alpine tundra and glaciers in the east and southeast, humid subtropical in Easter Island, oceanic in the south, and Mediterranean climate in central Chile. The Atacama Desert is found along the coast of Chile, right next to the Pacific Ocean. Much of the desert extends up into the Andes Mountains and is very high in elevation. The Atacama is actually a pretty cold place, with average daily temperatures ranging between 0 degrees Celsius and 25 degrees Celsius. The Andes Mountains form the longest continental mountain range, extending from the shores of the Caribbean as far south as the Magellan Straits. Perhaps the most surprising aspect of this range is how narrow it is over much of its length. The high part of the range is typically less than 93 miles wide. Low lighting and the oblique perspective emphasize the narrowness of the range, which forms a formidable natural obstacle and explains how the improbably long and thin country of Chile acquired its identity. Most of the best-known beach resorts are in central Chile, from El Norte Chico south past the metropolitan district of Santiago. Middle Chile enjoys a mild, pleasant Mediterranean climate, much like California's central coast. Visitors enjoy warm to hot days and cooler nights. Some areas, like Caldera, have an almost tropical feel to them. The most famous region of Chile, Chilean Patagonia, offers all of the dramatic landscape one would expect from the world's ultimate Land's End. Here, the South American continent falls away in a dazzling explosion of islands, glaciers, icebergs, and mountains. It is truly one of Mother Nature's grand finales. Chile, which was founded in 1810, is a Spanish-speaking country with more than 16 million people. Its capital is Santiago, and its currency is the Chilean peso. Chile is a democracy and has a GDP of more than $181 billion. The national flag and the national anthem are the two most important symbols of national identity. The National Day, September 18th, commemorates the country's declaration of independence from Spain in 1810. This is a day of celebration and national unity in which Chileans enjoy traditional food and folklore-type music in honor of the martyrs of independence. The national anthem of Chile is also known as Canción Nacional. It has a history of 2 lyrics and 2 melodies that made up 3 different versions. The current version was composed by Ramon Carnecier, with words by Eusebio Leo, and has 6 parts plus the chorus.
The Chilean language spoken is primarily Spanish. However, Chile is known for having created an enormous amount of distinct words and expressions. Consequently, the Spanish spoken in Chile is frequently indiscernible to gringos and native speakers alike. A common slang phrase in Chile might be,
échate al pollo.
Literally, it means throw it to the chickens. However, the implied meaning is, get out of here. For example,
No quiero que estés acá. Échate.
The culture of Chile is one of a relatively homogeneous society where historically its geographic isolation and remoteness has played a key role. Since colonial times, the culture has been a mix of Spanish colonial elements and indigenous culture. A Huaso is a Chilean countryman and skilled horseman, similar to the American cowboy, the Australian stockman, and the Mexican charro. Huasos are found all over central and southern Chile. From Mexico to Colombia to Argentina, the peso is the standard monetary unit. Although several Latin American countries use the peso, they are not all the same. The Chilean peso is, of course, what is used in Chile. There are several paper bills, as well as a pocket full of coins. The Chilean peso is fairly stable, with a good exchange rate with the US dollar. Chile has a dynamic market-oriented economy, which is characterized by a high level of foreign trade. Chile's overall trade profile has traditionally been dependent upon copper exports. The state-owned firm Codelco is the world's largest copper-producing company, with recorded copper reserves of 200 years. Chile has made an effort to expand non-traditional exports as well. The most important non-mineral exports are forestry, wood products, fresh fruit, processed food, fish meal, seafood, and wine. Chile has a strong economy characterized by high volumes of foreign trade and a sound economic policy. Chile's exports account for 40% of its GDP and have experienced growth of 4% since 1999. From 2003 to 2008, FDIs in Chile were worth $17 billion, which dropped to about $7 billion in 2009 due to the global economic crisis. The Chilean government had injected a $4 billion stimulus to counter the recession in 2009, the result of which was felt in the fourth quarter, when the economy showed signs of recovery. According to the International Monetary Fund, the GDP based upon purchasing power parity per capita in Chile was reported at $14,340 in 2009. In 2015, that same number is expected to be $19,632. In 2009, Chile's economy share of world total GDP adjusted by purchasing power parity was 0.35%, and in 2015 it is expected to be 0.36%. Chile has successfully negotiated 21 free trade agreements with 55 partners around the world, including Canada, Japan, and the United States. These agreements underscore Chile's status as a free trading nation. Chile officially encouraged foreign investment, and investment legislation has been incrementally liberalized since 1974. The country also benefits from a transparent regulatory system and well-functioning bureaucracy. There is no waiting period before profits can be repatriated, and investors are guaranteed access to foreign exchange in the interbank currency market. Chile reported a balance of trade surplus equivalent to $530 million in August of 2010. Chile's economy is highly dependent on international trade. Chile's main export is copper, while imports include petroleum and petroleum products, chemicals, electrical and telecommunications equipment, industrial machinery, vehicles, and nat gas. Its main trading partners are the European Union, the United States, China, and Argentina. Since September 29, 1975, the peso once again became the monetary unit. Today, the bank has the exclusive right to issue banknotes and coins and may hire, in Chile or abroad, the printing of banknotes and the minting of coins. From 1953 until 1975, the peso was replaced by the escudo. The Chilean government is comprised of an executive, legislative, and judicial branch similar to that of the United States. The executive branch, while also being the head of government, appoints the entire cabinet and is elected by a popular vote for a single 4-year term. Chile utilizes a civil law system where the law is based on a detailed set of written laws and codes. Chile followed the Roman, Spanish, and French legal traditions in the designing of its own legal system. As a civil law jurisdiction, Chile's legal system is governed by codes written by legal scholars. Judges are bound by the codes and are not obliged to follow previous judicial decisions.
Three very notable companies that have been successful in Chile all come from the financial services industry. Royal Bank of Scotland, BBVA, and JP Morgan Chase are just a few of the companies that have experienced great success upon entry and continued success. In addition to the financial services industry, Chile has become an international service centers headquarter for South America. JP Morgan Chase recently chose Santiago to replace Miami as the company's headquarters for the in-house development of IT services. And JP Morgan chose Chile based on the country's economic and political stability, business environment, infrastructure, salary costs, personnel security, as well as
Two very notable companies that failed at their attempt to do business in Chile were JCPenney and Home Depot. While both retailers had great success in other markets, neither adapted appropriately to this country. JCPenney actually entered the market with a greenfield investment, but did not solicit the advice of local partners. They moved in executive leadership that was unable to speak the local language, and their stores did not appeal to the one-stop shop that consumers were accustomed to. Home Depot, on the other hand, was faced with a local retailer who had similar operations and first-mover advantages. In addition, Home Depot's storefronts were lacking in the aesthetics that female shoppers demanded. The Chilean miners who were rescued in October 2010 owe its success to globalization. The efforts in rescue of the miners were done with contributions from all over the world.